How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 3. Yes, Chapter 3. As we continue on with this series, you'll see that I'm actually able to count. So, in the last episode, Keiichi unintentionally got himself wrapped into a cooking contest, or a cook-off. And this is just no ordinary cook-off, by the way. This is one where we have no chance of winning, really. We're pretty much fucked here. From the get-go, from the moment that cooking became involved with anything, we were screwed over. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Nothing else to really talk about except that weird scene that we started off with about the dead body, but that's not important. Don't need to worry about that. We have Slice of Life to worry about. And this episode's going to be a little weird. It might be a little longer than I am anticipating, or shorter, I don't know. I'm going to divide this episode into two parts. This first part will be about 15 or so minutes long. Two reasons. One, it's not really late, but I do want to go to sleep soon. And two, I installed Windows 11. And it is a very, 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 very early version of Windows 11 that works completely fine from my experience so far. But when I tried to stream something, my GPU drivers were crashing. So I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that there's no crashing when I'm recording a visual novel. If there isn't, yay. If there is, well, shit, I'm kind of screwed. I also installed iOS 15, the open beta on that, so I'm really just putting myself in a lot of risky situations. Fine, I'm desperate, so what? Yeah, me too. I may not know the ABCs of navigation, and I have neither a sea chart nor a compass. But still, one idiot is taking on the ocean of the Great Cooking Age alone. And his name is Keiichi Myra. That was a loud-ass noise.
Yoshi! Iza! Ryori!
My enthusiasm is peerless. If energy and recklessness was all it took, I could take over the world. However, there are plenty of things in the world that can't be achieved with resolution alone. I would know. That's why my fucking GPU drivers crashed earlier. And cooking was probably the top contender. Therefore, even if it was hastily prepared knowledge, I wanted something to help me. I made up my mind and fished through the kitchen cabinets. I was on the hunt for a cookbook. Yes, before the internet, there were physical pieces of media that would help you out. My mom should have a few of them. For a complete amateur like me, the first thing I needed was information. Just like he who could cross the oceans needed a compass. For me, a cookbook was absolutely indispensable. Oh, here's one. And it's worn out, wrinkled cover made it feel somehow reliable. Sorry, I really fucked that sentence. Okay, as long as I've got this. And you know what? Even so I am running Windows 11, I do have my trusty, definitely not name brand Gatorade. It's definitely, I call it a ripoff. It's not, it's just not name brand. So's the internet. You'll find out soon, Keiichi. And as such optimistic thoughts filled my chest, I flipped through the pages. However... No. Sorry, I'm trying to hydrate because it is hot. Today was really humid. It played with technical terminology like toys. I just couldn't see how to actually make things. You knew it all along, Keiichi Myra. If anyone can make delicious food just by reading a book, then there would be no such job as a gourmet chef in the first place. First off, it calls for 3 teaspoons, but which spoon is that? And it keeps saying to use however much you like. How much exactly are you supposed to use? Stop using such obscure expressions. Strain out the water in a colander? Add salt and pepper to taste? What the heck is yeah, actually I don't even know what the hell that is. And strain it out like stretching? You can't stretch water droplets like meat. And besides, how much salt and pepper is that supposed to be anyway? And that's why I like YouTube. It won't do you any good to yell. Cool off, Keiichi Myra. Think calmly. For now, I'll leave the side dish until after. The rice is more important. The rice we could probably fucking do. Have to cook the rice or I can't start. I know a little about how to cook rice. I didn't cook it with my camping kit when camping all the time for nothing. Did I fuck that sentence too? I don't know. I'll wash the rice. That should be enough water. And which switch is it? Is it this button? Oh, the lamp turned on. Yeah, fully automatic rice cookers are one of the 3 sacred treasures after all. What are the other 2? Now pleased by the rice cooker's set, I pulled myself together and decided to take on the miso soup next. The miso soup I made at day camp was all the instant kind after all. Well, it would be fine if I just melted the miso into hot water, no doubt. I'll boil the water and put in the miso. Huh? How much should I put in?
何人数とお好みで適量にまたしても抽象表現か
This cookbook fucking sucks.
ああそれなら適量に入れてやるさ
I crushed the bag of miso in my fist and put half of its contents into the pot. Was this really okay? Maybe this was a little too hearty.
濃厚なお味の味噌汁がいいって言うもんなそういえばお袋の味噌汁は少し薄すぎる気がしてたんだ俺にはこれくらい入れた方が合うかもしれない
I said it aloud as if trying to convince myself. Then, convinced by my own words, I nodded to myself. Alright, the rice and miso soup were probably fine. Next, the side dish. But what should I make? Something I could make that would add color to the meal. That's it. Why don't I stir fry some vegetables? I was gonna shout out broccoli or something. I'm pretty close. You can eat vegetables raw too, and they won't die just from a little bit of fire. It was so cute then, not realizing that the level of my thoughts had fallen from what would look great in a meal to what would be easy to make. There were quite a few vegetables in the refrigerator. What kind of vegetables go in a stir fry? Bean sprouts? Cabbage? Chives? Onions? Can you put cucumbers and lettuce in? For now, I grabbed a nearby cutting board and cut them into chunks and tossed them into a wok. This has gotten pretty exciting. Is the true worth of men's cooking? Hey, this is actually getting kind of fun. All of a sudden, there was a pile of vegetables in the wok. Alright, next is the salad oil. Hell yeah, glug that shit in. It'd be more exciting if I filled it to the oh, don't do that. Whoops, a bit leaked out. Well, no point in worrying about something so minor. The great Keiichi Maiburu's cooking is exciting. Okay, let's turn on the heat. It's gonna blow up in our face here. The salad oil filling the wok to the brim caught fire and flames reached up to the sky.
すげえなんだか俺って鉄人って感じ俺ってひょっとして炎の料理人なんじゃ
Those words were spoken by delusion. I was saying something outrageously careless, but when the words came out, they sort of convinced me.
そうさ俺は料理の鉄人あちゃちゃちゃちゃちゃ
Right as the crazy pillar of flame started to burn the ceiling, I finally realized that the fabulous cooking before my eyes had culminated into an actually life-threatening disaster. Wait, what? Could I have been doing something insane? The force of the flame grew stronger and stronger. Wait, what? What? Uh-oh. Wait, why is she here? Somebody forcefully struck me in the back of the head. When I turned around to see what was going on, to my surprise, I saw Satoko and Rika-chan there.
サトコリカちゃん
As I stood in wonder at their unexpected entrance, Satoko shoved me out of the way and turned off the gas. Then Rika-chan got a towel, soaked it in water, spread it out, and placed it over the pot. She continued to soak more towels and put a second on and then a third. Once a whole bunch were piled on, the fire finally stopped. All of it had happened in a few moments. All of it had happened, excuse me. Having avoided a huge fire by a hair's breadth, the three of us gasped for air.
ってお前らなんで俺の家にいるんだ住居不法侵入だぞ
それを言うなら圭一さんなんか放火の現行犯でございますのよもうすぐで大火事になるところだったではございません圭一は今日から宿なしでかわいそなのです
Or dead. And after pretending to be an Iron Chef, I finally began to take in the situation.
やっぱりあれは火事になりかけてた
Yeah, usually whenever you start a fire, that's sort of what happens next.
当たり前でございませんの
especially if the fire is inside said house.
ほらご覧なさいませ。天井がすすけてるではございません。すすけていいのは男の背中だけですのよ。
Satoko was seriously mad at me. Maybe they saved my life. Yeah, they did. They definitely saved your life there. According to what they said, I was so absorbed in my fiery cooking that I hadn't noticed when Satoko and Rika-chan rang the doorbell. But they could tell someone was home, so they came in to check. Thank goodness they did.
僕とサトコが来なかったら今頃ボーボーで消防車がうーなのです。圭一さん、そろそろ事の重大さが飲み込めまして。
At some point, I had sat down on my knees as I listened obediently.
すみませんでした。皆さんは命の恩人です。
素敵なディナーがどんなものかと来てみれば案の定このざまですし、これじゃ出来上がりを見るまでもありませんわね。
嫌味なやつ。
I mean, it's true.
じゃあサトコたち、俺が夕食にどんなものを作るか見に来たってわけか。
その嫌味に命と家を助けられたの、よく肝に銘じた方がよろしいのではありません？
はい、すみませんでした、サトコさん。
At this point, having shown them such a disaster, I couldn't exactly make any more bluffs. I'd completely surrendered.
カレーの時は結構頑張ってましたの。あの時の圭一さんはどこに行ってしまいましたの？まったく。
He's still in chapter 2.
後輩職に手伝ってもらって他の班の鍋を丸ごと借りただけで、別に俺が料理したわけじゃ。
圭一さん、そんなズルをしてましたの？まったく、いくら部活とはいえとんでもない手を使いますのね。
Pouring salt into the other team's pots seemed far more terrible to me. Yeah, that actually kind of pissed me off whenever that happened. But Satoko was in control right now, so I couldn't respond. I obediently hang my head to her.
ところで圭一さん、この凄まじいお鍋、まさか味噌汁だなんて言わないでしょうね。
Satoko stared at the pot, totally full of miso, with an awful expression. Ah, so I really did get the amount wrong. Judging by the look on Satoko's face, whatever was in the pot couldn't be called miso anymore.
味噌汁はともかく、ご飯はうまく炊けたはずだ。最近の炊飯器は便利だからな。きっとそろそろ炊けてる頃だ。
炊けてないです。ほら、まだ中身も全然お水なのですよ。
え？あれ？だってちゃんとスイッチを入れたらランプが点灯して。
圭一さん、あなたが押したボタン、これタイマーのボタンですのよ。
Haha.
朝食用にセットしてあるから電源が入るのは明日の早朝でしたよ。
ってことは何か？俺は結局おかずはもとより味噌汁もご飯すらも何も自炊できなかったってことか。
Yeah, pretty much.
ざまあありませんわね。どうです？ようやく身の程を思い知りまして。さあ認めなさいませ。私前原圭一は北条聡子さんよりもお料理の下手っぴな口先男でしたって。
いやー、私は聡子より料理の下手っぴなダメダメ男でございました。どうもすみませんでした。
Damn, we were really quick to just give up there. I fainted in wow, alright. Fainted in agony, alright. Rika-chan pat my head, satisfied at the sight. And Satoko laughed loudly in triumph. Ah, I've completely lost. Yeah. In the end, I talked big, but couldn't make a single dish adequately. At this rate, I'll go without dinner. And tomorrow morning, no breakfast, and no bento for lunch either. I didn't know how many days it would be before my parents returned, but at this rate, without a doubt...
もちろん明日の弁当もなし。そして明日の罰ゲームも俺で決まり。ギャー
Rika-chan kept on patting my head with a smile on her face that couldn't possibly get any bigger. Satoko, completely appalled at how unsightly I looked, heaved a heavy sigh.
大の男が情けないったらありゃしませんのね。
You got that right.
ほら、おどき遊ばせ。
As I sobbed like a girl, Satoko, displeased, brushed me aside, dumped the remains of the miso soup into the sink tidy, and then began to rinse out the pot.
いいよ、サトコ。自分の後片付けくらい俺がやるよ。
I couldn't have Satoko clean up the cooking utensils I'd made a mess of, but when I tried to stop her, Rika-chan pulled on my clothes.
圭一は黙って見ているといいのですよ。
She grinned as she said it.
黙って見てろって。何言ってるんだ、リカちゃん。
まあ、そういうことですわね。圭一さんは黙って私に任せればいいんですのよ。
Satoko turned around and declared, seeming bothered, as if to say that amateurs should keep their hands off. Her annoyed expression was a little scary.
任せるって何を？
Satoko didn't answer. Instead, she spun back around and began to rifle through the pots in the refrigerator.
おいおい、あまりいじり回すなよ。ひっくり返したりしたら俺が後でお袋に怒られるんだからな。
うるさい男ですわね。男子厨房に立ち入らずでしたよ。
Wait, really?
リカ？あいあいさですよ。
Satoko snapped her fingers, and Rika-chan got on her tiptoes, grabbed me by the back of my neck, and started dragging me away. Leaving Satoko alone in the kitchen, Rika-chan dragged me back into the living room.
おいおい、リカちゃん。もう話してくれよ。サトコに任せたら台所が大変なことに。
Man, we have no faith in
今日
her.
のサトコは圭一を見返しに来たのですよ。復讐なのです。
復讐？そういえばサトコのやつどこか険しい顔を。
Eventually, from the kitchen, there was the sound of a faucet being twisted and a stove dial being turned. I began to hear the nostalgic sounds that made me envision dinner time. The refrigerator opening and closing, ingredients being cut on the chopping board. What did that mean? Was she cooking?
圭一にいっぱいいっぱいバカにされましたですから。
Yeah, we definitely did. Okay, I'm gonna end the, well, I guess my session here. The rest of the episode will continue. I have not crashed, which is nice. So I gotta investigate that further, since I have a very, very early version of Windows 11 here. But before I go, well, I mean, the rest of the episode will continue on like nothing happened. I did want to mention that obviously Satoko and Rika-chan are gonna definitely know how to fucking cook. We learned in Chapter 2 that they live together. It's just them. So I definitely understand that they may know a lot for their age. They have a lot of skills that you probably wouldn't really find in children. So good on them. We really set ourselves up for failure. Most definitely. Alrighty, I'm gonna go sleep. And the rest of the episode will continue. Alrighty, I'm back at it. Let us continue.
サトコは自分にもお料理がちゃんとできるところを圭一に見せたかったのですよ。
こうして音だけ聞いてる限りではお皿を落とす音も破裂音も爆発音も聞こえてこないな。
At this point, at least, she had proven she was a more skillful cook than me. In the cooking showdown with Satoko Hyojo versus Keiichi Maibara, it looked like victory had already been decided. I recalled Satoko's slightly annoyed expression from before.
俺、日中サトコのことをちょっとバカにしすぎちゃったよな。ひょっとしてそれで根に持たれた？
We were just provoking each other with our usual back and forth. But I also think I maybe overdid it. At the very least, I shouldn't have made fun of Satoko, who could cook for herself when I'd never cooked other than for recreation before.
サトコはそんなの根に持っていませんです。
でもこうしてわざわざ俺のところまで押しかけてきたくらいだろ。やっぱり怒ってるに違いないよ。
I quietly took a peek into the kitchen. She definitely looked different than the usual bird-brained Satoko. Her eyes were sharp and her movements were brisk, to the point where it was a little scary. Then she must have noticed me because she turned around and shot me an annoyed glare. I cringed in fear and hastily pulled my head back out.
怒ってる。やっぱり怒ってる。ああ、俺はどんな復讐をされるんだろう。ああ。
サトコは失敗したくないから真剣なだけなのです。怒ってなんかいないのですよ。
あれのどこが怒ってないって言うんだよ。あんなおっかなそうなサトコ初めて見たよ。
ケイイチさん、ちょっと聞こえてますの？
Yeah, we're like one room away. What are we doing?
はい。
I jumped to Satoko's angry outburst and faced towards the kitchen. I felt exactly like a kid who had done something bad and gotten called to the teacher's lounge.
お味噌ってどこにしまってありますの？冷蔵庫がでっかくて全然わかりませんですわよ。
すみません。味噌はその冷蔵庫の中段扉の中の下の網棚の左奥に。
なんですのこれは。お味噌のパックは使ったらちゃんと口を閉じなさいですわよ。冷蔵庫の中がお味噌で汚れてしまってるではありませんの。
すみません。
Damn, we suck. Before I can look for something to wipe it with, Satoko wiped it off with a wet dish towel.
まったく、男の人ってのはどうしてこう後片付けがずさんなんでございますの？そのまま大人になったらと思うとゾッとしましたよ。
I couldn't talk back to Satoko today. The only thing I could do was obediently lower my head and apologize. As Satoko nitpicked and I apologized, a good smell began to fill the kitchen.
お味噌汁のお味噌はこう。お玉に少量をすくい取ってお箸で溶きながら、少しずつ加えて味見をしながら慎重にですのよ。丸ごとひねり出してお鍋に開けちゃうなんて言語道断でしたよ。
すみません。家庭科の授業は真面目にやってませんでした。
情けない。まったく、これだから男の人は。
Ah, come on, it's not all men. I cowered at her annoyed sounding muttering. But looking at her like this, she seemed quite good at cooking. It had just been overshadowed by Rena's and Rika-chan's artistic abilities. Satoko's skills were clearly enough to get passing marks.
さあさあ、そんなところでぼーっとしてる暇がございましたら、食卓にお茶碗の用意をなさいませ。私もリカも食べますから、用意は3人分ですわよ。
はいはい。
I hastily took a 3 people's worth of dishes and such from the cabinets and headed to the dining room. When I returned there, I could hear laughter from a variety show on the television. Rika-chan was sprawled out on the couch, watching television and relaxing. When she noticed me putting the dishes out on the table, she came scampering up.
もうすぐご飯なのです。圭一のうちでご飯なのです。ニパー。
リカちゃんは上機嫌みたいだな。サトコの不機嫌とはえらい違いだ。
サトコは全然不機嫌じゃないです。久しぶりにとても楽しそうなのですよ。
Yeah, because we're on the bottom and she's on the top.
楽しそう？あれがか？
サトコがニーニーと一緒だった頃みたいです。こんなに楽しそうなサトコを見るのは本当に久しぶりなのですよ。
Nini? What the heck is Nini? Is it a sound cats make?
ニーニーはニーニーです。サトコのお兄さんなのですよ。
サトコの兄？
サトシと言いますです。
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that's Satoshi.
名前くらい聞いたことがありませんですか？
Satoshi. Satoshi Hyojo? Maybe I have, and maybe I haven't. At least he didn't go to our school. Oh, no, he once
サトシってい
did.
うのか。サトコの兄貴は。初めて聞いたな。
She had a brother, huh? I didn't know that. She does have one. Or she did. Saying that, Rika-chan grinned even more brightly and went Nipa again.
サトシと一緒にいる時のサトコはいつもこんな風で楽しそうだったのですよ。本当に久しぶりにこんな楽しそうなサトコを見ますのです。
However I looked at it, she seemed to be in a bad mood. But her good friend Rika-chan was saying it was actually the opposite.
楽しそうなのか。
きっとニーニーと一緒だった頃を思い出してるに違いないのです。懐かしいのですよ。
懐かしい？じゃあ今はサトコとは別居なのか。
You could say that. Maybe Satoko's older brother Satoshi is actually a lot older than her. He must have gone off on his own and was living by himself far away.
サトコはそのサトシって兄と仲は良かったみたいだな。
はい、とても仲良しな兄弟だったです。
Come on, Keiichi, notice the past tense that she's using. She spread her arms wide to demonstrate the width of how well they got along. According to Rika-chan, Satoko supported her docile, slightly unreliable older brother through nagging. That was their relationship. I see. That certainly applied to the current situation. We had me, unreliable, unable to cook even a single dish properly, and Satoko, who redid it while scolding me. Could Satoko have been getting a glimpse of her brother who now lived far away through me?
いつもあんな感じでサトシに小言を言いながら、だけどしっかりと支えながら仲良く生活してたんだな。
今日圭一のところへ来たのだってサトコが言い出したのですよ。
She said there's no way the unreliable Keiichi-san could possibly make dinner. We need to go make it for him.
じゃあ別に復讐とか見返すとかそういう意味で来たんじゃなかったのか。
放っておけなかったのですよ。サトコは今でもしっかり者の妹なのです。
I was an only child. I didn't know how it felt to have siblings. Of course, I've never had a little sister like Satoko. But I felt that in this moment, I was an older brother obediently and helplessly being looked after by her. Without any teasing or messing around, I'm going to give thanks for her trouble. And that's what I honestly thought.
圭一さん、おしゃもじがどこにあるかわかりませんでしたよ。
ああ、ごめん。しゃもじはその右脇の引き出しの中に。
I ran into the kitchen, got the ladle out of the drawer, and offered it to Satoko.
さあ、出来上がりでしたよ。もうお茶碗とかは準備できてますの？
ああ、もう準備 OK だぜ。
では、ご飯にしましょうですわね。リカ、お夕飯ですわよ。みー。
I heard Rika-chan's effervescent voice coming from the dining room. I hope I said that somewhat right. I don't think I said it completely right, but hopefully somewhat. Satoko turned off the gas flame on the stove and lifted up the pot of miso soup.
圭一さんは炊飯器を持ってきてくださいます？ひっくり返さないように注意するんですのよ。
ああ、気をつけるよ。
I can carry rice cookers just fine without being warned about it. I thought about replying like that, but I decided not to. No mean words or witty retorts today. Rice with steam billowing from it and miso soup, as well as a handful of side dishes. On the table was a truly firm, family-oriented dinner. It wasn't weird at all, or extravagant. It was a daily meal, the sort a housewife would make. It was very nonchalant and brimming with liveliness.
では、いただきますですわよ。
いただきます。
At Satoko's command, Rika-chan and I both thanked her in a loud voice.
俺、サトコのことは侮ってたよ。完全に敗北だ。
少しは見直しまして。リカやレナさんに比べれば私もまだまだですけど、頼りない圭一さんなんかよりはよっぽどお料理ができましたよ。
Damn, she could cook better than me, and, well, I mean, that's not really saying much. I really suck. That I will admit.
へいへい、おみそれしやした。
After I honestly admitted my defeat, Satoko's expression finally softened, and she laughed with her normally loud and cheerful voice.
お、ご飯いい感じで炊き上がってるな。
Though she used the rice cooker, it tasted a little different from the rice my mom made. Maybe she used a different amount of water for it. Even so, I could feel Satoko's personality from the rice, which made it taste better than usual. The miso soup was a little on the thick side, but it was still delicious. The side dishes, while not exactly flashy, tasted great as well. It was all so appetizing and I couldn't stop eating.
おかずもよくできてるよ。サトコも決して料理は下手じゃないぞ。
I gave my honest impression without a hint of sarcasm. Satoko seemed to have been expecting some because I praised her so honestly. She got flustered instead.
褒められるのは光栄ですけど、そんなに立派ではありませんのよ。おかずはお惣菜屋さんで買ったものを温めただけですし、これとこれは缶詰を開けただけですし、 自分でちゃんと作ったのはご飯と味噌汁だけなんですのよ。
Satoko said, embarrassed, her face a bit flushed. There was none of her normal verbal abuse or sarcasm in there either.
ご飯とお味噌汁しか作ってませんけど、出来合いのおかずを並べればそこそこに立派にはなりますのよね。
うちのお袋だって出来合いのお惣菜は使うし、缶詰だって使うよ。そんなので恥ずかしがることはないだろう。これは立派な夕食だよ。
I gave her my honest praise. I've never met Satoko's brother, but Satoshi would probably praise her in the same way.
私にもそこそこのお料理ができることが分かっていただけたのでしたら、それで十分ですわね。おかわりいります？お味噌汁はまだありますですわよ。
Huh? Did that brat just awkwardly change the subject? When I realized my response had been on the mark, it made me a little happy.
こうしてご飯を食べてると、サトシと一緒にご飯を食べてるみたいで楽しいのです。
Rika-chan mentioned Satoko's older brother's name again. Satoko's chopsticks paused and she looked up at the ceiling.
懐かしいですわね。一体今頃どこでどうしてるやら。
She had a faraway smile, as if yearning for a friend who had moved away. From how it looked, I got the impression she hadn't seen Satoshi in quite some time. And she'll never see him again. Haha. That's not funny. Satoko realized I was giving her a blank stare.
申し訳ないですわね。サトシっていうのは私のニーニーじゃなくて兄なのですのよ。
あ、うん、そうなんだ。
Nini must have been a nickname only Satoko used for him. It was funny to see her hastily deny it.
あんなに生活力のない人に家出なんて解消があったなんてびっくりでございますけど、まあそのうち値を上げてひょっこり帰ってくるに決まってますわ。
家出したんだ。
There was another story to what Satoko had said so cheerfully. The reason for Satoshi not living with her was a little serious. Everyone had been talking about it in such an upbeat way, so I continued to talk about him. Should I not have broached the subject at all? I hastily took a look at Satoko's face after thinking that, but there was no trace of the gloomy expression I'd been worrying about.
まあ一人暮らしに憧れるなんて年頃らしい夢ではありませんの。どうせニーニーには長続きするはずもありませんけどね。ご来性のない人ですから。サトシはああ見えてもとても我慢強い人なのですよ。
Yeah, and he's also dead.
サトコが思ってるよりもずっと我慢強いのです。リカはすぐニーニーの肩を持ちますのね。リカはちょっと甘やかしすぎですのよ。サトコはニーニーに厳しすぎるのです。帰ってきたらもっと優しくしてあげた方が良いのです。
Satoko and Rika-chan's views regarding Nini, aka Satoshi, were parallel to each other, but I could easily tell that both of them really liked him. They were so optimistic too. Even though he had run away from them, it was like they were going to see him again next week. Satoko and Rika-chan both liked Satoshi even now, and waited for him, believing he would surely return. I've never met him, but I know for sure that this Satoshi person was a really good guy. I had thought Satoko would be deeply hurt by her brother running away, but she had already overcome that. She was still being the energetic little sister, always full of vim and vigor, as if to say that her brother could come back anytime he liked. I thought that Satoko didn't think through anything, and just frolicked and played practical jokes every day, and that was it. But she was really... yeah.
なんで私の頭を撫でますの？
I roughly rubbed a hand through Satoko's hair.
俺、サトコのことを誤解してたよ。お前がこんなにしっかり者だなんて思わなかった。
Satoko seemed to think I was making fun of her and tried to bat away my hand. But then she saw that there wasn't even a trace of malice on my face, and obediently granted me her head.
サトコはしっかり者。
私は最初からしっかり者でしたよ。圭一さんに合わせて悪ふざけしてあげてたに過ぎませんわ。
There was her usual provocation, but I decided not to buy into it today.
そうだな。俺に合わせてふざけてただけなんだよな。でも本当はこんなにもしっかり者。偉い偉い。
本当に褒めてますの？
Yeah, it doesn't sound like one, but I'll take it.
なんだかバカにされてるような。
俺は全然バカにしてないぞ。真面目に褒めてる。バカにしてるときはリカちゃんも一緒に撫でるからな。
それもそうですわね。リカは人を小バカにするときよく頭を撫でますものね。缶詰のイワシさんが美味しいのですよ。
Rika-chan went nipa, and her smile became even brighter. Her attitude was clear as day, but it was annoyingly cute, so both Satoko and I suddenly burst into laughter. That laughter lightened up the table. The table itself is so dull and simple that I never even thought people could be laughing like this around it. And then, I finally came to realize something really obvious.
笑いながら食べる食事って美味しいよな。
Any meal is, man.
もちろんなのですよ。笑いはご飯を美味しくするのです。失礼ですわね。ご飯が美味しいのは私のお料理が美味しいからに決まってますわよ。
This harmonious moment, this happy circle, it was completely different than spending time with family, but still somehow nostalgic.
サトコはニーニーに会いたいか？
ニーニーなんて言ってませんですわ。兄とお呼びなさいですわ。
Hey, wait, you've been saying Nini this, Nini that this whole time. I grinned wryly and decided to just call him brother like she told me to.
サトコは兄貴に会いたいか？
Rika-chan stopped eating and then looked back and forth between my face and Satoko's. Satoko was smiling. She looked like she was trying to choose her words. Just from that, Satoko conveyed her feelings. Honestly, she wished he would come home right now. But she wasn't that weak. Satoshi should just do what he wanted until he was satisfied. In return, she'd let him have the scolding of his lifetime. And then she'd have dinner with him and lay out his futon for him.
会いたいかと言われれば、もちろん会いたいに決まってますわね。もうすぐで1年になりますもの。
It's been that long already. Rika-chan smiled thinly, her eyes appearing to look far away.
まあ、ニーニーの好きにすればいいのですわ。少しでも生活力を身につけて、たくましくなって帰ってきてくれれば、私の負担も軽くなるわけですし。
ほら、またニーニーって言った。
言いましたですね。言ってませんわよ。ニーニーのことをニーニーなんて言いませんわよ。
Things rapidly returned to the usual lively atmosphere of lunchtime at school. But nothing changed about Satoko's feelings towards her brother. She was living so bravely and so strongly. Hey Satoshi, your sister is trying so hard to watch the place while you're gone, isn't she? Give it a rest and come back soon, got it? Oh, we're so oblivious.
サトコ、そろそろお片付けをしないとお眠になる時間なのです。
It was when we were all watching TV while enjoying some tea after dinner. Rika-chan let out a big yawn and then spoke. Satoko and I both then looked at the clock and noticed how late it had gotten. No, perhaps we both realized it already. We just didn't want this warm moment to end. Maybe we didn't want to say anything.
いけませんわね。まだ食器を洗っていませんでしたわ。
いいよ、そんなの。それくらい俺がやっておくよ。飯をごちそうになって食器まで洗わせるわけにはいかないよ。
本当に大丈夫ですの？慣れない人が洗うとお皿とか洗剤で滑って落としちゃいますわよ。
Jeez, she turned into a perfect nagging little sister. It was charming and awkward. Emotions like that were all mixed up inside me. I gave her a vague, dry smile.
圭一だってお皿くらい洗えますですよ。割ったお皿で怪我をしたら明日学校でかわいそしてあげますです。わー。
Rika-chan yawned again, so wide you can see her molars.
本当に大丈夫ですの？圭一さんって見かけと違って随分と頼りない方でございますからね。
やれやれ。サトコの中の圭一株は大暴落みたいだな。安心しろ。皿くらいきっちりと洗ってみせるぞ。安心して帰れ。っていうか、こんな時間じゃサトコたちだけに帰らせられないよな。家まで送るよ。自転車の鍵を
私たちを送った後、一人で家に帰るの圭一さんではありませんの。夜道に迷って、高津戸あたりに迷い込んだら大変ですのよ。あのあたり、お家も明かりも全然ありませんから。
I was trying to worry about them going home, but I didn't think they'd be worried about me getting lost. Am I really that unreliable? Yes. She really is being critical, but yeah, this feeling I have, it's not bad. So I ended up not needing to escort them. I saw off Satoko and Rika-chan to the gate.
今日は本当にありがとうな。おかげでとても文化的な夕飯にありつけたよ。
聡子が来なかったら、今頃圭一はグーグーでニャーニャーだったのです。本当ですわね。本当来てよかったですわ。
They really saved me. I gave them another bow filled with gratitude.
そうそう。ご飯とおかずの残りをタッパーに詰めておきましたから、明日はそれをお弁当になさいませ。あと、明日の朝食は食パンとジャムがいいですわね。いちごジャムとピーナッツバターが冷蔵庫中段の右端にありましたわ。あと、粉末ココアが食器棚の右上の戸の中に。
I know all that, you don't have to go into detail. I was about to say that, but I decided to humbly listen to her. It was then that I finally realized that Satoko, who had appeared to be in a bad mood, was in fact in a great one, just like Rika-chan had said. And that, though she nagged a lot, she was very kind. Sorry, I thought I missed a word in there.
では、おやすみなさいなのですよ。寝る前にはちゃんと歯を磨くんですのよ。5分以上かけてしっかりと磨きなさいませ。
What the fuck?
わかったよ、さとこ。ちゃんと歯も磨くし、明日の朝飯も用意する。弁当も忘れないようにするよ。
Isn't it like 2 minutes? Isn't that like the
いつ
minimum?
もより早めに起きないと朝食やお弁当の支度ができませんわよ。なんなら少し早いくらいの時間に目覚まし代わりに電話して差し上げましょうか。
そこまでしてくれなくても大丈夫だよ。目覚まし時計を少し早めにセットしておくことにする。ありがとな。いろいろと気にしてくれて。
Satoko looked like she had more fault finding to do, but she stopped and, leaving me with a good night, got on her bike and disappeared down the nighttime road. Rika-chan went to do the same, but then remembered something and came back.
どうしたリカちゃん、忘れ物か？
今日の圭一は100点満点でした。パチパチパチなのです。
Rika-chan suddenly complimented me. She clapped her small hands. What was she on about?
別に褒められるようなことはしてないだろう。危うく自宅を火事にするところだったし。
聡子もきっとミーニーが帰ってきたような気がして、とても楽しかったと思いますです。たまにこれからも聡子のお小言に付き合ってあげてほしいのですよ。
さとこに小言を言われる頼りない兄貴。サトシの代わりになってやれっていうことか？
Rika-chan didn't say anything. She just smiled and went all nipa.
サトシってさ、こんなにもできた妹と一緒で何が不満だったんだ？俺がサトシだったら絶対に家出なんかしないぞ。
サトシにはサトシなりの事情があったのです、きっと。
I didn't know what he was unhappy with, but whatever the reason, it was no excuse for abandoning Satoko.
早く帰ってくるといいな。俺じゃ多分本物のニーニーの代役はいつまでも務まらないぜ。
大丈夫ですよ。今日の圭一はサトシそっくりだったのです。またお願いしますなのですよ。
If that's what would make Satoko happy, I'd take on this easy role whenever I needed to. Excuse me, Satoko stopped her bike under a distant exterior light and called out to her friend, who wasn't coming no matter how long she waited.
では、僕はもう行きますですよ。おやすみなさいなのです。
あ、おやすみ。
僕ではサトシの代わりをできませんが、圭一ならできます。これで僕も心の荷が一つ下りましたのですよ。
Leaving me with that, Rika-chan sped off on her bike. She rode up next to Satoko, and then the two of them disappeared in the blink of an eye.
サトシ、本当に早く帰ってきてやれよな。あんまり帰りが遅かったら。
I'll punch you right in the nose. Let's try our best until that day comes, Satoko. Even if I could no longer hear the sounds of their bicycles, I stood there for a while seeing them off. Yeah, it kind of sucks that I'm pretty sure her brother is dead. I don't know if they realize that and just don't want to admit it, or, you know, they know what happened to him and that he actually disappeared. I don't know. Satoko's Trap Course Elementary. Alrighty. We got our first achievement. You're on fire. Yes, we are. And not in a good way. Alrighty, we'll save it here. Thank you all for watching this episode. I have no idea how long this one will be because it's kind of divided into 2 parts. I'm glad my computer didn't die, or my graphics driver didn't restart. I'm gonna have to mess around with it because I'm on that Windows 11. I don't recommend going to it, but it is pretty. Thank you all again for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz. I'll see you all next time. Take it easy.